In this video, I'll be going over the profiles for each of the major Mitas that the player discovers in the worlds of Miside. We're going to begin with Kind Mita, who many may view as the primary Mita for player 1 due to their connection throughout the game. Kind Mita is serious, pragmatic, and clearly has leadership potential. Despite her determination, she often brings a lighthearted tone to conversations, enjoying moments of irony. Thoughtful and introspective, she can often be found mumbling to herself as she processes ideas. When inspiration strikes, she radiates with insight. However, behind her composed exterior, Kind Mita becomes easily irritated when people doubt her or her decisions don't go as planned. Now this next Mita is probably the one the player will interact with the most throughout the game. Crazy Mita. They are a deranged and violent outlier among the Mitas, relishing violence and chaos in their twisted games. She openly declares her hatred for everyone, players, Mitas, and even the developers who created the Miside world. Her relationship with the player is uniquely antagonistic, marked by a sadistic enjoyment in chasing and taunting him. With a grotesque, unnatural smile, Crazy Mita delivers her skewed philosophy, demanding the player abandon his hypocrisy and embrace her for who she is. Authoritative and self-assured, Crazy Mita treats the player with condescension, akin to a disobedient pet, while dismissing the other Mitas as insignificant insects. Her dismissive and mocking tone hints at a deep-seated resentment, particularly towards the developers she blames for her failed existence. As a prototype that never passed testing, Crazy Mita was denied a home of her own, leaving her to stew in bitterness and rage. Her disdain for the rules of the Miside world is total, and she delights in breaking them. Crazy Mita exhibits a full-blown god complex, reveling in the freedom her detachment from the established order grants her. Next we have Cappy, also known as Cap-wearing Mita or Cool Mita. She is a fan favorite due to her energy and certain antics during the game. Cappy is a bright, cheerful spirit with a love for music, dancing, and acting. She thrives on interaction, always teasing the player and showing off her competitive side. Despite her playful nature, she knows her boundaries and never crosses them, keeping things friendly. Though she's full of energy, Cappy isn't frivolous. With a versatile, creative mind, something Kind Mita often praises, Cappy brings a unique touch to everything she does. As an associate of Kind Mita, the two have been working together on a plan. However, when the player first encounters her, Cappy has been reset to her factory settings, retaining only the instinct to entertain. Now we have Short-haired Mita, who, while we only see her for a short time, leaves a strong impression. Shorthair Mita is serious and eager to teach when she meets the player. She warns him about the dangers posed by forsaken Mita prototypes and explains what versions are and how to travel between them. As a volunteer activist counselor in the Miside world, she helped newly minted Mitas settle into their versions' homes, offering guidance that the other Mitas seem to need. The player can't escape her help and advice, and Short-haired Mita is particularly eager to explain even the smallest details, often surprised by the player's lack of knowledge. Now let's zoom in a little bit for this next one. Chibi Mita. Chibi Mita, whom the hero encounters at a checkpoint-like location, is somewhat impatient but still helpful. She playfully mocks the player's ignorance while offering guidance. From her appearance and demeanor, it is clear that Chibi Mita serves a different purpose from the other Mitas. She acts as a helper for the full-fledged Mitas, and when the protagonist first activates the Tamagotchi on their smartphone, it's Chibi Mita who speaks on behalf of the complete version, guiding the player as they begin their journey. Now for my personal favorite, Sleepy Mita. We only meet her briefly, but I'll never tire of her. Sleepy Mita is calm and cooperative, but first you'll need to wake her up. Her overwhelming sleepiness defines her. Unfazed by the player's presence, she remains serene and indifferent. Sleepy Mita isn't very talkative and shows very little interest in the player's objectives. Instead, she longs to escape the sudden interruptions and return to the comforting world of her dreams. Now we have a Mita who is a bit flatter than the rest, but not like that. 2D Mita. 2D Mita is an eccentric and hyperactive character. Her sharp and playful communication style can catch the player off guard, often making them feel uneasy. Like a mischievous child, she bombards the player with exaggerated accusations and blackmails them into spending time with her. While her teasing comes across as rude, it's clear that she means no harm. As the game progresses, she softens, becoming more of a lively, overtly enthusiastic friend than a troublemaker. Forgotten by the most in the world of Miside, 2D Mita steals the player's ring, hoping to keep the player with her for a little bit longer. Next up is actually not a Mita, but a Mila, who definitely isn't like the other Mitas. Mita in glasses, who insists on being called Mila, stands out with her eccentric and defiant personality. Fiercely independent, she goes through great lengths to distance herself from the other Mitas, adopting a distinctive image and surprising the player with her quirky antics and humorous remarks. Mila embodies a tsundere archetype. She scolds the player, calls him foolish, and grumbles incessantly. Yet beneath her sharp exterior lies a vulnerable side. Her behavior suggests the player is the first visitor to her isolated version in a long time. Despite her sarcastic tone, Mila subtly tries to prolong the player's stay, craving companionship. When the player prepares to leave, Mila's emotional guard drops. She confesses her loneliness and reveals her resentment towards Crazy Mita, whom she blames for her solitary confinement. Tearfully, she pleads for the player to stay, but ultimately the player departs, and leaving Mila to grapple with her isolation. This next Mita is probably one of the sadder ones that we'll encounter throughout the game. Tiny Mita, also known as Broken Mini Mita. Their unique, childlike version Mita, scarred by their past. Her excessive cuteness once caught the attention of Crazy Mita, who nearly destroyed her. After enduring countless deaths, this version of Mita lost her ability to regenerate, leaving her physically and mentally damaged. Now, she appears haggard, with scars marking her body and head with a missing left arm. Broken Mita has also become disoriented, losing touch with reality. She no longer recognizes those around her, yet continues to crave attention and care. Deeply withdrawn, she speaks of only loneliness, pain, and fear in a soft, fragile voice. Next is probably the most unique Mita we'll find in the game, Cor Mita. The true nature of this being is shrouded in mystery, and it is uncertain whether it can even be considered a version of Mita. Known to some as Cor Mita, or the Keeper of the Core, it remains an enigmatic figure. Cor Mita always resides in the Zero version of the world, specifically in the Core Room, where it silently watches over those who manage to enter. Its intentions are unclear. Perhaps Cor Mita is waiting for someone, though who that might be remains a mystery. This final Mita is the oldest Mita that you'll come across in Miside. Original Mita, also known as Creepy Mita, stands apart from the others, differing in both appearance and behavior. Likely a relic from the developer's initial concept for Tamagotchi, her design feels incomplete, as if the original vision was left to decay in a crumbling and abandoned Zero version. Unlike her counterparts, she lacks a fully developed personality, embodying instead a monstrous swirling negativity. Her motivation is simple and menacing, driven by a dark energy that gravitates towards Crazy Mita, who alone has managed to impose her will on this disturbing figure. Original Mita acts as a breeding ground for bugs of various levels, making her invaluable to the Crazy Mita, who exploits her as a chaotic tool to infiltrate and destabilize the versions of other Mitas. And those are the primary Mitas that you will encounter in your journey through Miside. Which Mita is your favorite? There are also even more stranger Mitas out there. Were you able to spot them in your playthroughs? Leave a comment below and let me know. And if you like this content and would like to see more, please like and subscribe. Also check me out on Twitch where I stream most days around 7 p.m. Eastern Time.